once again, Bully, I thought a up and down, great Monday Night Raw last night.
How could you have not liked it? It was very, very entertaining. Right off the bat, coming to you live from Portland, Oregon, the city of roses. CM Punk pulling up in a, what did he pull up in? An Equinox, a Traverse?
It's so funny. It's so funny. Like, I was watching with Violetta, and Violetta's like, there's no way that CM Punk drives that kind of car. And I was like, but again, we talked about it before, Bully, that one just long shot, pulling up, getting out of the car, walking through the backstage area, right through Gorilla, into the arena, into the ring. Man, it really pumps you up when they do those long shots.
Love the continuous shot. I think WWE is doing a very good job with it. I think AEW is doing a very good job with it. I like it when AEW does it with Jack Perry showing up in that bootleg, hot dog van that he's driving, that he turned into the scapegoat mobile. Originally, AEW was doing that with Mox. WWE capitalized on it also. Love it. It just shows me, it gives me it's like the behind the scenes of what goes on right before, the music hits. So seeing Punk pull up, get out of the car. Now, pet peeve. If you're going to get out of the car,
Gotta shut the door.
you got to turn the car off.
Oh, I was going to say,
He didn't even turn the car off.
I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice that.
Dave, stuff like that drives me insane because it's such a minor detail that is not going to take up any more time in the shot. Pull up, turn the car off, open the door, shut the door, put the keys in the pocket, and start walking to Gorilla. Why leave the car running? Why leave the door open? If you're going to do that, show me somebody in a black shirt like a valet ready to take the car and park it for you. Like, it's such a tiny little thing. It's a little detail thing, but I'm a stickler for that stuff. However, like I said, love the shot. Punk gets out of the car. He's wearing a Bret Hart sweatshirt, keeps walking, comes up in the arena, past the security guards, past the loading docks, heading towards Gorilla. Bang! We hear his music hit before he's even in the Gorilla position. Takes off the Bret Hart sweatshirt. He's down to a sleeveless, through Gorilla, out to the people. Big ovation for Punk. I'm a fan of it no matter who's doing it. When they used to do it with Goldberg back in the day, I liked it, but it felt very produced. I don't like it when things feel produced or overly produced. I don't feel like these are rival shots, whether they're being done in AEW or the WWE last night, like we saw at Punk, are being overproduced. So very, very much enjoyed it. Funny story real quick. Back in TNA about a year or two ago, they came up to me like, Bully, we want to do I think this was before my match with PCO one night, some like crazy ass, brawl. And they said, Bully, we want to do an arrival shot with you to the building tonight. I was like, great, no problem. I was like, and they're like, we got you a vehicle. And they gave me a Honda Odyssey. I said, guys, time out. Guys, I don't know if you watch the show, but I'm Bully Ray.
Yeah.
I don't think Bully Ray's pulling up in a Honda Odyssey.
Why don't they just give you a Toyota Corolla? Like, you know what I'm saying? Green Pinto pulling up to
a
the
67
arena.
Scirocco.
But I like the shot. But I also, probably more than anything else, Bully, loved what Punk had to say last night. And the tone of how he said it, the verbiage of what he said. Man, they're setting up for, might I say, Bully, I know I have high expectations here, but I think you need to have high expectations with what Drew has said and what Punk has said over the last few weeks. We might be seeing one of the most violent, bloody matches in the WWE than we've seen in decades. Judging by what we've seen lately, how this story has gone, we thought this was done with the strap match where things did get bloody. I mean, straight up, as you heard in the open of today's show, Punk said there will be blood. They're really setting this up to be a very bloody violent match coming up at Bad Blood, and maybe the most violence and blood that we've seen from this company in almost 20 years.
The name of the PLE is Bad Blood. It's a Hell in a Cell match. And the babyface guaranteed us that there would be blood.
Yep.
You gotta kind of deliver on this. I don't think it's going to be Tommy Rich, Crimson Mask, or Dusty Rhodes, or Terry Funk blood, but you gotta deliver. And much like I talked about, and here's one of the things I want to get into today that we didn't get into yesterday when it comes to cage matches. I want to talk about Cody and Solo in the cage. I want to go back to Hangman and Swerve in the cage, and I want to talk about the Hell in the Cell match. When it comes to this cell match between Drew and Punk, I hope it just comes down to the two men and their fists and the cage, the cell as the gimmick. Okay, fine. If there's a table under the ring, okay. If there's maybe a weapon, like maybe like a callback, like a strap, since they just had a strap match or something, I could tolerate that. But I don't want to see, personally, as a fan, I don't want to see a bunch of gimmicks pulled out from under the ring. Don't pull out a toolbox. I hate that fucking toolbox. Hate it. Not a fan of it. Don't pull out the toolbox. Fight. The issue is there. The animosity, the bad blood, so to speak, no pun intended. The hatred for these two guys is there. All you need is your fists. Taz used to say back in the day, my hands are my weapons. That's the only weapons that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre need. Their fists, their kicks, and ramming each other into that cell.
Yeah, I think, and I'm with you, Bully, because I think if you start using things like gimmicks and things like that, then it's almost like you forget about the animosity between the two people in the ring. You start, all right, what are they going to pull out next? What's the next thing that's going to come out from under the ring? All right, here's tacks. All right, here's the toolbox. Here's the kendo stick. Here's, this, that, the other thing. Then you're more focused on that than what's going on in the story that's being told between the two wrestlers. So I'm with you. I hope they just stay within that cage and they're in that Hell in a Cell. I don't need any big spot. I really need the story just to be told by how this story is being told, just between two men and their fist. And there's enough there just for that could tell you a great story. And this, as you probably would predict, will be the conclusion of this story. I think this will be it. So let's make it like a high note. And I agree with you, like old school cage matches. Now, when it comes to the Blood Bully, I hear what you're saying. Is this going to be Dusty Rhodes, Crimson Mask, or is this going to be Buzz Sawyer, Tommy Rich? Probably not. But at the same time, the cage match that I know you want to get into today between Solo and Cody, there was blood there. Enough blood where, Solo was wiping Cody's blood on his stomach and on his chest. I'm just saying. Now, that's a televised cage match on SmackDown. Here you have an opportunity, because it's a PLE, to do something even more. I really think, Bully, there is going to be a lot of blood in this match.
And if there is, good, because this match should have blood. Like I said, I don't think we're getting Dusty Tommy Rich, but I think we're getting a little more than we got with Cody and Solo. Cody there wasn't much blood there on Cody. So I do hope we get more, because this story calls for it. About a year ago, we were busting Moxley's chops about blood every match. Like tackle, drop down, hip toss, arm drag, body slam, bleed. Like, why are you bleeding? There was no need for it. It's just a cold match. Well, in this match, the buildup is there. This is a blood feud. And a blood feud should culminate with somebody bleeding, especially when you have your babyface looking down the barrel of the camera, the handheld on the apron. Vince McMahon, if Vince McMahon was watching last night, I guarantee you he threw his TV across the room, because that was a no-no back in the Vince day. You never look down the barrel of the camera. Triple H regime, different story. I love it when guys and gals are able to look right into the camera. They're speaking to you at home. Imagine if Hard Times, that promo is cut without Dusty looking into the camera.
No, it wouldn't have had the effect. Dusty did that in the back. It wasn't even in the ring. And I think that made the promo what it is, because he was reaching out to the people who were watching at home.
And last night, I saw people hit me up on the old Twitter machine saying, damn, Bully, Punk just sold me on the pay-per-view. Sold me on the pay-per-view. You cannot be paid a higher compliment than somebody saying, hey, after I heard what you said, or after I saw what you did, I want to now plop down my hard-earned money. I don't care if it's on Peacock or a PPV, whatever it is. They want to see this match.
Yeah, and I think for me as a fan, I do too. And there's levels to it. Like, if we would have gotten this promo before one of the other matches, it wouldn't have had the same effect. This was the perfect promo at the perfect time, Bully, because you preach it here all the time on Busted Open. When the babyface makes a guarantee, you have to follow through with that guarantee. You know, Punk made some guarantees in that promo last night that he has to follow through with. And it's really not about wins and losses. It's really about violence and blood. It's about who's going to be standing over the other wrestler. So with some of what Punk said last night, I mean, they're going to have to follow up on that, and they're going to have to deliver at Bad Blood.
And here's what really helped the promo last night. Here's what really brought me in. And they actually had the hook in my mouth for a second. I thought they were going to go in a different direction. Dave, let's say me and you had some animosity where you were thoroughly pissed off at me. So pissed off at me, you felt the need to confront me face to face. Who's the only person in the world who'd be able to talk you off the ledge?
My wife.
Ding, ding, ding. Circle gets the square. Violetta might tell you, Dave, don't go to his house. It might get into a physical altercation. You might get yourself in trouble. You might get arrested, blah, blah, blah. You might want to think twice about this. Last night, we heard CM Punk tell us that his sisters and his wife, the most important females in Punk's life, asked him to not go through with this match. And he's still doing it. That holds a lot of water with me. To me, that's a big deal, especially the wife. AJ's name was on that bracelet. AJ is asking Punk, do not get into this violent match with this really big man because you might get hurt. Bad. To the point where you have 0 matches left in you or 0 cell matches left in you. Punk took that under advice, took his sister's words under advice. Sorry, girls. I'm still going through with this. That's huge.
Yeah.
The baby face is basically telling the fans that I'm not heeding the warning of my loved ones because I'm going out there and fighting this guy for you. He didn't really say it's for the fans, but at the end of the day, it's for the fans. He's doing it for himself. He's doing it for the fans. Last night was a quality promo by Punk, and if you listened to the volume when he started, it was very Jake-esque. He was talking at a very low tone. And then it escalated. It never got to yelling. Excuse me. It never got to yelling. But it got to a volume that I took very seriously. 2 thumbs up on Punk's promo last night.
And Bully, this is one of those promos, though, that I have to say when it comes to CM Punk, maybe one of the best promos that he's ever delivered, and here's why. Most of the promos we talk about CM Punk, it's when, excuse the pun, a shoot. Like, the pipe bomb promo where he's mentioning Ring of Honor and Paul Heyman before he was back in the fold in the WWE and New Japan and blah, blah, blah. And he made the remarks about Vince McMahon and, Triple H. Or, the promo that he cut when he first went to AEW where he made remarks about the WWE, or even when he first came back to the WWE, the passive-aggressive comments towards AEW. That's what we're used to hearing from CM Punk, where he injects a lot of, truth and taking shots at other companies. That's what we're used to at CM Punk. The pipe bombs, the drop-the-mic moments from CM Punk. That's not what we got from CM Punk last night. This is completely storyline within the realms of the show and selling a match and selling a pay-per-view, a PLA. That's what the true masters of this form of art does better than anybody. That's what Dusty Rhodes did. Dusty Rhodes wasn't injecting truth or the personal stuff behind the curtain. He was keeping it to the story, keeping it about Ric Flair and how you need to be in the arena when he faced Ric Flair. That's what Punk did last night.
What you just said, you need to be in the arena. As a kid, I remember watching wrestling. Obviously, I originally started watching the WWF on WOR, Channel 9. If you're in the Northeast, you know all about it. I remember turning to my grandfather when the Masked Superstar said that he was going to break Bob Backlund's neck in Madison Square Garden. And I turned to my grandfather and I said, Grandpa, we have to be there. And then I remember, I don't remember the exact promo, but I remember something going on in the NWA where they talked about the Omni. And I remember saying to my grandfather, Grandpa, we need to go to the Omni. And my grandfather's like, what the hell is the Omni? Where's the Omni? Well, Grandpa, it's in Atlanta. If we start driving now, we could make it by next Tuesday. But as a kid, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. As a kid, remembering the feeling of I need to be there. A wrestler's promo or a wrestler's actions struck a chord with me so much that I turned to my grandfather and said, we need to be there. I have to see this. I cannot miss this. That's what Punk did last night. And that's what wrestling is all about. Stirring up so much emotion in your fan base that you need to be there. Motley Crue just announced 3 shows in Los Angeles. And we can make fun of Motley Crue all we want, and Vince is singing and blah, blah, blah. But Motley is playing 3 shows. One at the Roxy, one at the Troubadour, one at the Whiskey A Go-Go. The 3 clubs that they made a name for themselves in back in 1981. And the only way to get tickets for these shows was to actually line up at the box office, like back in the day when we were kids, Dave. And you could buy hard tickets. There were no tickets online. You actually bought hard tickets. 2 tickets per person, each ticket valued at $19.81 the year Motley Crue was formed. That's a must-see show for me. Now, I wasn't able to fly out to LA and get in line at any of the clubs. I've been talking to some people in line who have. But that to me is must-see if you're a fan. When I saw that, the first thing I did was I text Jericho and Dolph. And I'm like, we have to go. I will show you. I'll screen cap the text to the both of them. We have to go to this. The only reason we're not going together is because Jericho's got some bootleg band that he plays in called Fozzy that he's on tour with. His priorities are in the wrong places.
I love Fozzy, by the way. I'm not gonna say anything negative about that. But Bully, you're right. And in that essence, and I've done it for concerts. I've done it for wrestling where, for concerts where I've gone to the Capitol Theater the night before. Me and my friends slept the whole night online because the box office was opening up at 8 a.m. the next morning, so we wanted to be near the front of the line to get tickets. You know, I remember waiting online to get tickets for wrestling, you know, at Ticketmaster at the William Patterson College Rec Center so I can get good tickets for wrestling. Like, that's all part of the process because you, like you said, you have to be there, which makes that moment even more special when you go there because of all the shit you had to go through in order to get the ticket. It's the same thing here. This isn't just like, all right, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk have had an argument and they've had a fight and they have animosity. So let's hurry up and get to a Hell in a Cell match so that we can get to the moment and move on. No, all the stories. This is where I get so pissed off, Bully, when I hear fans say, all right, enough of this story. This has been going on long. No, the longer, the better. The longer it goes, the more invested in the personalities and characters that you get into. Greatest example is the Bloodline. That story's been going on for 3 years. Nobody's bitching and moaning about how long this story's been going on because there's so many plot turns and new characters and twists and turns. It's the same thing here. You thought it was over with the strap match. No, they're going to take it to an even bigger level, an even more violent and bloody level. How are you not in for this? And this kind of, and Bully, this is kind of where it comes in. And I know I talked and bitched and moaned about it a lot last week. I'm not going to go there. But the Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson.
Wow.
This is where...
I was just about to bring that up. I was going to say, this is where your frustration comes in with that story, right?
And this is where, and people, and listen, I'm in the minority here. The AEW fan base is like, LaGreca, go fuck yourself. You're getting the match that you want at Grand Slam. Be happy. Tony Khan is giving you this match. How could you not be ecstatic about that? Obviously, Bully, I'm extremely happy about that match. I'm going to Queens to be in the crowd for that match. But it's not based on what I've seen on AEW television. It's based on what I saw with Ring of Honor years ago and the story that they told 15, 20 years ago. That's what sold me on this match. And everybody's like, didn't you watch Collision? Nigel McGuinness brought up their history and they showed a 2.5 minute package of their history. I'm sorry, but the story, Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness, what they were able to accomplish in Ring of Honor and what I hope to see at Grand Slam, I'm sorry. A 2.5 minute package isn't enough for me. That's not enough for me. It deserves more. It deserves a deep dive. Tell me the story. Not in 2 minutes with Tony Schiavone. I want to hear the story from Nigel McGuinness. I want to see the pain in his face with tears in his eyes saying, I was supposed to be the guy with WrestleMania moments. I was supposed to be the guy to marry the diva. That was supposed to be me. I was supposed to be that guy. Not a commentator. Not being out of professional wrestling. I was supposed to be known as the greatest pro wrestler of all time, and it's you. You're the reason I'm not in that position. I blame you. And then I want to hear from Bryan Danielson. I want to hear from Bryan Danielson. You say, you know what? I took it all out of you. I emptied your tank so you had nothing left to give. I was fine. I still had more. You emptied your tank to beat me, and you had nothing left to give. You made the decision to go to TNA. You made the decision to be Desmond Wolfe. I stood by who I was and what I am. That's why I'm regarded as one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. And that's why I had the WrestleMania moments and you didn't. I want to see that face. Tell me that story. We had Kerry Silken on the air, Bully, last week, and he said he spoke to Nigel McGuinness, and Nigel McGuinness says, you know what? I'm happy that Bryan Danielson has had all this success, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't jealous. He used the word jealous. That's the foundation of some of the greatest stories that have ever been told. And I'm supposed to be happy with a 2.5 minute package on Collision? Are you shitting me right now? Just be happy? Fuck you. I want to hear the whole story. And then I got to have Tommy Dreamer last week saying, well, you know what, Dave? I'm not excited about that match. I'm more excited about the tag match and the number one contenders match. Exactly. Point LaGreca on that conversation, because if the story is told right, Tommy Dreamer, even though you didn't see one match that they had in Ring of Honor, if the story is told right, you would want to buy a ticket to be in Queens at Grand Slam to see what this match is all about. If you tell the story, people will come. I guarantee you, if you would have told this story the right way, you wouldn't have been worried about selling tickets to Grand Slam in Queens. You would have had a full house. If you tell the story the right way, the people will come. They'll buy the tickets. They'll watch the show. And then you wouldn't be looking at 22,000 people in 2021 and 5,000 people in 2024. You'd be looking at 22,000 people in 2021 and 22,000 people in 2024. If you tell the story the right way, people will tune into your show each and every week, and they will buy tickets to be at your show. Common sense. Pro wrestling history has proven that fact time and time and time again. Bully, tell me if anything I said was wrong.
In the words of my brother Devon, testify.